Welcome to the Goofy Getaways Podcast, the show where travel planning becomes part of the fun. Here we share expert guidance, real experiences from our travel advisors, and thoughtful conversations designed to help travelers feel more confident before they ever leave home. I'm your host, Amy Blades, founder and CEO of Goofy Getaways, and each week we'll be bringing you insight, strategy, and support that turns good trips into unforgettable ones. Let's talk about why ChatGPT will never plan the same kind of trip that a travel advisor can. And let me say, hey, ChatGPT has its purpose, so we're not saying anything about that. But I will tell you, if you have ChatGPT plan a trip for you and you have someone at Goofy Getaways plan a trip for you, I guarantee you it's going to be better when you've got somebody that's really, really zoned in on exactly what it is that you want. So you guys, let's just jump in and talk about it, because I cannot tell you how many times I have heard people say, I just ChatGPT'd my, okay, well, that's fantastic. Not a Disney trip, I'm going to tell you right now. Let's call a spade though, right? There's so much information online and everybody thinks that they're an expert. And you know what? There are a lot of people that are experts. I'm not saying that they're not. But you have to really be careful with ChatGPT in general, because you need to cross-reference and kind of check, because there are times that you can pop something in there and they'll be like, oh, make sure that you are getting your, and I do this all the time because I still call them fast passes and I don't mean to, and I always correct myself. But when you've been doing this and they change the names of stuff, right? But you do have to go in and take a look, because sometimes the thing, you're planning this trip for somebody, you pop it in there and then you read like half of the stuff that they're telling you to do isn't even relevant anymore. Agree?
Agree. Well, and a huge thing that people need to remember about ChatGPT is that it is AI, yes, but it's not an actual thinking machine. It's a code. And what it does is it's scanning articles on the internet and it's scanning websites, and it's not always going to pick the most recent thing or the most up-to-date thing. So I know for me, a lot of times, like if I'm going through, and I do like ChatGPT for like helping myself like build outlines for things and stuff. I do use it quite a lot. And I know everybody has like such different feelings about it. But I think that there is a place for it. I just think that you have to be intentional with it. But there are a lot of times where I'll be like typing out something and it'll tell me like, oh, Genie plus this and Genie plus that. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a thing. And I've told it many times. I said, dear ChatGPT, this does not exist anymore. You have to call it this. And it'll still say Genie Plus. And it's just those kinds of things that you gotta be so careful, because it's not like a person sitting behind a computer tapping out the answers like Cha-Cha back in the 90s, right? Or 2000s, whatever that was. But sorry, derailing myself. But it's just a computer that's scanning the internet, which you yourself can do. But same thing, even you yourself with your eyeballs, when you're going and reading blog posts and you're reading articles and stuff, you got to check the dates on things and see like this post was actually from like 2017. That information is probably irrelevant. Heck, even stuff from 6 months ago can sometimes be irrelevant. The new Bluey thing is such a huge example, right? They made this big deal about how you were going to have to do a virtual queue and it was going to roll out with this whole thing. Y'all, that lasted like 4 days and they made a big deal about it. And I guarantee you that there are a ton of people traveling this summer thinking that they're going to have to do a Bluey virtual queue, because that was what was so pounded out on the internet. And now they don't do a virtual queue anymore. And so it's just things like that I think that there is a place for ChatGPT. You just have to.
I do too. And that's the thing too, right? And I use it too. It has its place. I agree completely. I think maybe instead of talking about what ChatGPT doesn't do for you, how about instead, I would really like to focus on what exactly are the personal touches that we do as agents, as an agency, that ChatGPT doesn't. I think that's truly more. They can spit out your itinerary, but I guarantee you they can't tell about that personal experience on an attraction or at a restaurant, or the snack that they wanted, or what should I wear in December, or what should I wear in, how many times does it rain, and do I need a poncho? Like there's so many things that they really don't know. Do you have any kind of strategies when you're planning trips for people, depending on what trip it is that they want, but anything that you really kind of stick to that works for you as a consultant?
So I can share a little bit about what I do with my clients. So and every advisor has a totally different process and how they like to work with their clients. And one way is going to work well for some clients and another way is going to work well with others. And that's something we'll talk about later, is like finding the right person for you. But one of the things that my clients really enjoy is I have this app that we use, and it's a collaborative tool. And what I use it for is that on my end, this is where I put things like the park guides that I've made from my personal experience with my tips and tricks and all of those things. Like I can have those in there. It's where I can put reminders to make sure that they're remembering to do things. Like, for example, I have some cruise clients traveling in January. Like I have little to-do lists to help them remember, like, okay, you need to go make sure your passports are updated, make sure you have your documentation, because it takes this long and you just want to, and I'm able to like make sure that they know. But additionally, it's collaborative. So they themselves can add their own notes, their own checklists. They can ask me questions through it. And so like that's kind of a newer tool that I like to use, where like emails are totally great. And we absolutely still do a lot of conversating through emails. But I just like that it's a little more user friendly of like, if they have a question about a particular guide, they can just go on that thing and say like, okay, you said this. Can you explain this a little more? And then we can have more of a conversation about that. And we can actually dive a little bit deeper. And it makes it more fun too. Like it's exciting. It's fun because you can see all your trip details laid out. You see your itinerary, you have those to-do lists and countdowns, and you're like, oh my gosh. And so we can get excited together. And I can be like, oh yeah, you have this many days until your trip. Or like, oh my gosh, okay, it's time to do this next thing. And you're just not going to get that kind of excitement from a computer.
No.
You just don't. Like, you don't get that person celebrating with you like you do
each
with a
milestone of the
travel
trip and the
advisor.
planning, right? And it's relevant. And I know exactly what Kayla's talking about that she uses, and I've seen it, and it's gorgeous and it's beautiful. And I love that it's at your client's fingertips. That's the biggest thing. They pull it right up on their phone. You know, I am old school as far as I really do still like to send clients before they leave something that they can actually see that's in their hand, right? Like I still like to give them something. Of course, I always put it in email as well so that they can go back to it. But it's just the different styles of the different advisors that you work with. But, you know, a staple is, I think, the way that you, like your travel booking style is the way that you start off the conversation from the very beginning with a guest, and then how you plan that, how you communicate that. Everybody has a different style and little things that you do for your clients. I mean, one of my favorite things to do, or I like to do even, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but just little care packages. I have for years always made pixie dust that I always put in like a final care package for kids. And it's like sand with some glitter, and you just make it look really cute, or just the little tiny things that you do for people, or you notice what are the kids' favorite characters. And just you're not going to get anything like that from AI. It's all going to be that personal, obviously, part of planning, and then sending them off, and then obviously being vested in how the trip was when they return. I think you're not going to get that from AI either. Like, I genuinely want to hear, what were the things that worked? Was there anything that didn't work? I think those are the type of things that make us stand out in the industry for sure.
I think AI is very point in time. It is when you asked a question, what you asked at that point. It cannot intuitively go and find things as they change for you. Your AI isn't going to send you a text when Bluey is no longer a virtual queue, or when Muppets is now a Rock and Roller Coaster is now Muppets. AI is not going to say, hey, by the way, you're leaving tomorrow. This changed. And especially with Disney, we do see those changes, and they can happen fairly quickly. We're lucky enough that we often can get some heads up on those, so we kind of know. But AI cannot go in and look for things unless you're telling it what to look for. So AI, it's a search tool.
Yeah, like the price monitoring, right? You're not going to get that from just anywhere either. Yeah, I love to watch the different specials come up for my clients. Number one, it's going to save them money, but I'm telling you that 9 times out of 10, when I'm able to save my clients some money, they are going to say, you know what? Hey, we were already planning on spending that. So, hey, maybe we will upgrade our dining, or you know what? Maybe we will do that preferred room. And I guarantee you are not getting that from AI. It's those little things that make a huge difference.
I think the support and advocacy aspect is also so big. And that, I think, it can be one of the single most important things, or single most important reasons to hire a travel advisor, is the advocacy that they have for you. They're going to be the ones that are calling in your room requests, but they're also going to be the ones that are there when things inevitably go haywire, right? you miss your flights get canceled, your hotel gets overbooked for some weird reason, or your shuttle isn't where it needs to be at the time it needs to be, or your confirmation gets lost, or all of these your lightning lanes aren't working, or like all of these crazy little things that do happen a lot more. You don't think they're gonna happen, but as people who have done this for a long time, like it happens all the time. Having a real actual person who knows how to navigate those situations instead of you yourself when you're in the middle of your vacation and that happens and you're trying to figure it out by yourself, when instead you could literally just text your travel advisor and be like, "Hi, help." And then they can say, "I got you," right?
Absolutely.
That peace of mind, there is no price you can put on that kind of peace of mind. Like
See, I
that,
agree.
if anything, that is the reason why you hire a travel advisor, right? And ChatGPT sure cannot do that at all.
I had some clients that were there during a hurricane. When was that? A couple of years ago, and they're like, "We're leaving. Can you do something?" And so, I was like, "You get out of there safely. You go." Yeah.
Yep. And I'll take care of the rest.
I
Absolutely.
was actually there during a hurricane prior to being a travel advisor, and I had used a travel advisor. And I'll tell you, it was the single most thing that saved my sanity was being able to call this person because I had no idea. I wasn't in the industry at that point. Being able to call them, and she did exactly that. She's like, "I got you." She's like, you go do your day, and your hotel's going to be taken care of. I will let you know when everything is all set, what you're going to do, and you just go. And like you said, just that. I got you. My clients don't need to worry about this stuff on their trips.
Yeah. I always say to my clients when they're going to travel, like right before, I always love to do just a little check-in with them. And I'll always say, okay, now if you need anything at all, you need to you can text me, email, whatever, because remember, you're on vacation. I'm not. This
That's right.
is my job every day. Like you enjoy your vacation and I'm going to take care of the things for you to make your vacation smooth as long as I can, as long as you're there. Yeah. I think that's my favorite part. Just being able to, it's not my favorite part when we have to solve all the problems, but like when you can solve them or, change the dynamic of a trip because something happens, right? I mean, unfortunately, you've had clients that have had tragedy in their family or something's happened, they've gotten sick, or, I mean, things change. And just knowing that you have somebody that's in your corner, I think is a really big asset for sure that you're not going to get from the other place.
I also want to talk about, so kind of in the ChatGPT vein, but like also not, because this is kind of the hybrid, like human element, but like not great human element, Facebook groups. It's so funny. So obviously I like all the techie social media things because that's just what I do, right? And so one of my favorite things to do is follow all of the tips and tricks groups. They do boil my blood a little bit, but they are so eye-opening to how much people don't know. And I don't mean this as like throwing shade at people, but we've talked about how discernment in helping people navigate decisions on like how to choose your hotel and how to know what restaurants to do and all this stuff. And a lot of times what people will do when they're DIYing their trips is they'll go to the internet, right? And they'll say, "Help, I'm doing a Disney trip. Give me all your tips and tricks." And they get flooded and bombarded with information that might be correct, might not be correct. It's also Tim, Joe, and Sally's favorite hotel because of this X, Y, and Z thing. But Tim, Joe, and Sally love to go to the parks sun up to sundown, and you are someone who likes to chill, right? And they don't take your family into consideration. And so, yes, again, I like these things for like inspiration, but I don't like them for planning. And there's a big difference. Having a travel advisor who knows those experiences, they can ask you, okay, so how do you feel about X, Y, and Z thing? Okay, because you feel about that way, this is what I am going to recommend. Whereas when you ask the internet, they're not asking you those questions. They're just saying, well, I did this, and this is what I liked 4 years ago, and it doesn't exist anymore. But they don't know that because they haven't been in 4 years, right? And so that's a huge thing that I caution people with is totally nothing wrong to going with the Facebook groups and looking in there, and you can ask your questions and stuff, but like make sure you're talking to somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, right?
Well,
That's
I
why you
encourage them to ask questions, right?
Yes.
Because that is, sometimes it can be frustrating. And I'm like, look, I want you to ask all the questions. So if you heard something from your cousin's best friend's brother-in-law, absolutely, I want to be able to answer that for you, but it does make it so difficult when there are so many things that are incorrect that are out there. That makes it really hard too. And I'll be like, look, you came to me to plan your trip because you wanted somebody that had the experience. And I'm not telling you that I'm the be all end all. I'm not saying that at all, but I will say, like, trust me. I'm going to give you every single angle to look at with whatever question it is that you have. I'm not going to just give you like what my opinion is. I'm going to say, hey, this is what I think, but this is also what I know from talking to other people. But yeah, that's a good one actually, Kayla. Those groups, boy, those can be something. That was a really good point though. I mean, you can definitely get some really good, I'm not saying you can't get good info. I mean, TikTok, I love to watch TikTok because the snacks at Disney, you got to try this or try this. There are definitely things that I never would try without it. So I'm not saying don't be informed, but yeah, make sure that the information that you're getting is coming from a source that knows what they're talking about, right? I guess that's more the difference of what I'm talking about. So I think that the whole thing is that the travel planning process, when you're investing your time, your money, your energy, all of those things, it really should be exciting. It shouldn't be stressful. And so that's our task, right? That's our job, to make it less stressful for you.
I like this analogy. Is yes, you can DIY a trip. You can also DIY getting your nails done or getting your hair cut, or you can DIY buying a house, or you could DIY remodeling your bathroom, right? But when you do that, the real cost is your time, your energy, your stress level, and having to navigate those things on your own. Whereas when you have a professional who knows what they're doing, yeah, there's sometimes a cost associated with that, but at least you know it's going to be done right and it's going to be done well, and you're going to be much more satisfied with the product at the end because you didn't have to worry about it, right?
Right. Like if you need your tooth pulled, are you going to go to the dentist or are you going to go to the neighbor? Like, let's just
you
be
can.
honest.
You totally can. And
Okay, yeah, you can.
You know,
I said, are you
it's
gonna?
one of those like you
It's
can.
the outcome.
But
That's what all I'm saying. You can, but what's the outcome going to be? Hey, I don't know. Just saying. Like I said, vacation should definitely feel like fun, and that's exactly what we're here to help you with. That's exactly what our job is as a agency. So you can get started by planning your vacation by visiting goofygetaways.com/book your trip, or you can visit the link that is in the description. So that is it for today's episode. And until next time, let Goofy Getaways lead you to the magic.